Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Transwest Truck Trailer RV here in Fredrick, Colorado. My name's Taylor, and today we're going to be going over a 2026 Winnebago EKKO. This is the 22A. So if you guys aren't familiar, this is going to be on the Ford Transit chassis. It is all-wheel drive, 4-season coach with top-notch insulation. And we do have an option to have a pop top, so it could have the capability of sleeping 4. This one does not have that, so a little bit more comfortable to sleep 2, maybe 3, depending if you have 1 kiddo or so. But let's go ahead and take a walk around the outside first, and then we'll end off on the inside. All right, sliding over here, we just have our Hankook tires, blacked out style rims, which adds to that kind of color scheme here. And then when we work our way up here, we have our truck style mirrors with a blinker built in. Nice little emblem here for our Transit 350 HD EcoBoost all-wheel drive. And as we dive in a little closer, you guys can see, if you have been on the hunt for an EKKO, this is the full body paint. It's an option that they offer now, and it's been very popular, having a little bit more seamless look. It's matching from the front to the back and kind of having that sparkly charcoal gray accent to it. And as we work our way up here, we do have that custom roof rack with a total of 2 solar panels up there that are going to be the 170 watt, and then you do have one more that's the 115 watt on that custom roof rack. Directly below that, we have our Carefree awning. And then just another thing I wanted to mention too, as you could see the side frame rails here to kind of help piece those together. It's not something that other manufacturers do where you go ahead and just glue or just screw them together just like this. You do have a nice little, I forget exactly what it's called, but it's kind of like an L-hook latch. So no matter how rough your travels are, or you're just slamming on the highway, you don't have to worry about just the structure itself pulling away from each other. So I really like that they do that as well. And then I wanted to, now that we're talking about a little bit more construction here, this door, very heavy duty, but also the screen door, something you may notice on for other manufacturers as well. This screen door is very heavy duty. You have about 6 latches up here, and I mean, you can hang on this thing and pretty much shake the whole entire coach just from this screen door. So I love having that feature. It does have a nice screen door and a plastic on the other side. So if you are pet friendly, or you like to travel with your pets, you don't have to worry about them running through the screen door like they may do at home. And then you also have the compatibility of locking it from the inside too. So if you want to keep the door open to make sure you have a nice little cool breeze in there for your pets as well, so you don't have to run that generator or your AC, you can kind of keep this door open and it's locked. Moving on to our first bay door here. Another thing is just the thickness of this door is going to be the whole thickness of the whole entire shell. And it's kind of like a honeycomb feature, which is going to help with that insulation as well. And then you just have a little latch up here so you don't have to hold it open. And then you have a nice little hot water line here, which also above that, you have your exterior shower. Other than that, it's just a nice little storage area, something you could opt into since this doesn't have the pop top. You can do an outdoor kitchen if you'd like. Sliding on over, we just have some charging right over here. We have the dualies in the back. And then we're sliding on over to our Truma AquaGo. So this is nice tankless water heater. And then we have our propane tanks. So this is specifically going to be for your heater as well as your propane cooktop that's inside as well. And then you do have a nice little spigot here. So if you did go ahead and pack up a grill, you can go ahead and use the propane you have on board. You don't have to buy additional little propane tanks for that. All right, now into the garage area. This is one of the most popular options in the EKKO, because not only is this insulated as well, so other manufacturers, they have garage areas, but it's not fully insulated. You can know and trust that this, all of your stuff will be nice and toasty. You won't have to worry about it getting frozen. And you have your heat sources on either side, so when you are running that heater, it will automatically be bringing it in here as well. You have some charging, and then you do have your lights in here. Nice little mat, and then you have the L track to tie down all that gear as well. And your molly board here, so you can tie down other gear too. This is something that you'll see not only on the Ford, but the Mercedes, which is the 23B. This is just your nice little sensors for that assistant package. That comes with the chassis, so it's just your blind spot mitigation system. And then now that we're on the rear, we'll go ahead and start at the top. We do have our AC up there, so it's the 13,500 BTU AC. Already talked about the solar, so let's go ahead and work our way down from that and talk about our backup camera that's right there. We have the ladder in case you did want to get on the roof, because that custom roof rack, I believe, is 250-pound capacity for the luggage up there. And then you do have just another access point to this garage. And then this is your 30-amp shore power cord. I like this one just because it's on a hinge, so you don't have to worry about lifting it up, or if it's really windy, fighting with the door as you're trying to load everything up. All right, and then sliding all the way down here, we do have our 5,000-pound hitch here with a 500-pound vertical weight. And then you have your brake light adapter here. So if you wanted to tow a smaller vehicle, you can do so. All right, and this is the last door here for that garage. A lot of people like the garage not only because it's heated, but also for those very expensive e-bikes that you don't want to attach to the very back of your coach. You can go ahead and store them in here. If they are a little bit wider, or the handlebars are a little wider, and this won't really do it. I know on the Mercedes floor plan 2 it's just a little bit wider, so it might be a little bit easier accessible to put those kind of items in there. All right, moving on now to our wet bay here. I love how it's a little bit higher. It's not so low to the ground, so you don't have to bend over. And then there's another cool feature too. It is fully insulated as well. And then all you have to worry about is your gray tank dump here, just because you don't have a black tank, you just have the gray and the fresh. Your fresh water tank capacity though is 50 gallons and 51 gallons for that gray. You have another outdoor shower here. Everything is color coded, as well as a nice little visual representation of what you would need for dry camping, city water, and so on. And then that gray tank dump is right there. And then you do have a nice little cover here, so when you're not using it, or you don't have full hookups, then you can go ahead and keep everything locked up. You do have a nice little light here, so if you needed to mess with anything at night, you have that little light. We have a 30-amp shore power cord here that will glow GLN to let you know that you have a healthy charge and it is charging properly. And then you have a nice little ZAMP solar port here for additional solar to kind of help with your boondock needs. This is just the exhaust for that Truma. Truma is very high efficiency. You will barely feel any heat coming out here because it's going to keep all that heat inside of the coach. Moving on over, this is going to be our black tank, but it's more of so like a cassette toilet here. It's up to 5 gallons. I always say in every video, if you wanted to go ahead and up that tank capacity, you can go ahead and just purchase another one. Or if it kind of gets just a little dirty and you can't really clean it to your liking, you can always just buy another one as well. So I love the maintenancing. And then you also don't really need to find a dump station. You can go ahead and just dump it straight into a toilet or a porta potty. All right. Directly underneath that, this is an option, so it's a standard coming with a generator. It is carb compliant, and if you didn't want the generator, you could do the battery pack upgrade. So this would just be a nice little storage area, and then you would have 2 of these lithium ion batteries here. So just the single one is 320 amp hours. If you doubled that, of course, that would be 640 amp hours. But with just one battery, you can run your AC for up to 4 hours, depending on the temperatures. So that would double your AC capacity from maybe 6 to 8 hours, again, depending on the temperatures. All right. All right. First look up here to that driver's seat. As you can see, the seats are all cloth. Everything is pretty much manual. They do swivel, so you just kind of have to configure them to your liking, and then also configure them to the liking of being able to swivel it. But if your door is closed, then you do have a nice little lock here, so you don't have to worry about that. And that is for your gas fill. And then I will go ahead and pop the hood here, so we can go ahead and take a look at that. Alrighty. Perfect. Alrighty, again, this is on that Ford all-wheel drive Transit chassis. It's a 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6 gas engine, 10-speed automatic Selectshift transmission with overdrive, and then you do have the 4-wheel anti-lock disc brakes, and then high-intensity discharge HID headlamps here. And then you have your windshield wiper fluid, very accessible. And then your oil dipstick is going to be over there, as well as the coolant. Everything is within eye's sight here, so you don't really have to dig for anything. And it's a lot lower to the ground, given that it's a Ford, so you don't really have to kind of hop up there to access things as well, which is kind of nice. All right. Perfect. Let's go ahead and take a look on the inside. Just gonna go ahead and turn the batteries on right over here. So you have your coach battery disconnects. You do have the awning controllers here, and then these are the switches for those first initial lights. As you can see too, directly below that, you have your fire extinguisher, and then you have the lower sources for that heat. So this is where your heat will be coming out. All right. We'll go ahead and start from the back. I do have all the shades closed, just to kind of get better lighting in here, so you can really take in all the colors. But one cool feature is having this is nice and plastic for you. I know you can't really see because the plastic is here, but you do have 2 cup holders here and a nice little cutout section. So if you wanted to go ahead and lounge back here, set up a drink or read a book, you have your nice little reading lights, you have charging for all the tablets. You can do that. And then you have charging too inside here. It's going to be the same as this since you can't really see it. Nice little carpet on the inside to kind of help with noise. For the reading lights, you have 2 different lights. You have a blue light as well as just a regular white light, which is really nice. Your AC is directly in the bedroom area, so I believe that's in the most important spot. No one likes to sleep hot, and it is ducted all the way through. All right. Did just want to bring down these so you can kind of see the windows. So at the top you have your bug screen, at the bottom it's the blackout screen. But you do have these big beautiful windows that prop open, so rain or shine you can go ahead and use them. It's kind of nice too because if you wanted just to go ahead and lock it in the middle here, each and every one, the window's still locked but you still get a nice little breeze. But if not, you can go ahead and prop them open. This is going to be the highest setting, then you get a medium and a low as well. Tucked away in that corner over there is going to be a nice little pre-wire. So if you did want to go ahead and mount your own TV in here, you have the option of doing that without having to deal with all the wiring. As far as the bed, I did write the configurations down here just so I wouldn't mess that up. So it's 2 twin beds, they're 32 by 76, and then you do have the Winnebago sleep system. So that's this system that's right here. I just kind of put it there so you can kind of see what it looks like when it is separate, but that's another reason why it has the hard surface underneath. Just because where my feet are, that's where you would need to prop it. This is the one that normally stays right here, because it's just soft completely. But then you'll go ahead and you'll see these little latches right here, well, where the bed rests on. That will just go ahead and latch into that and fill in this whole space. But underneath the bed, it's kind of clever. Besides having your freshwater tank, and the reason why they're able to keep up to 50 gallons of fresh water, which is substantial for a 23-foot RV. They also were able to kind of fit in every nook and cranny some extra storage space. So you have that right over there, just a nice little hole, which is only accessible when you lift up the bed, but it's better than kind of keeping it hollow. And then you have a nice little hanging rack there. And this is going to be the same on either side. And then you just have your freshwater tank that's kind of in an L shape here, because Winnebago actually prints those plastic tanks at their facility, so it kind of gives them the flexibility and the freedom to be able to customize it to each floor plan, which is really cool. All right, besides having this little curtain for privacy, we have a nice cool gadgets over here. This is just our Truma controller, which you can set the timers, set the temperature, all that good stuff. Down below here is just for your fans and the mode, And then here are the light switches. So I'll just go ahead and turn off that bedroom light. It's no longer needed. And these ones, you have one for the bathroom, which is what we're gonna get into next. Another huge popular feature for this is having that swinging door of a bathroom. So right now it is propped open. You have your sink, you have your mirror, you have some storage and a window, which makes it really nice and comfortable inside of here, given that it's still pretty small. And then all you have to do is put your hand right here, pull it open. I know it's kind of wonky because it is winterized now, so we always put the winterizer, the little shower head, in the sink. You can go ahead and swing this door open, and you do have, sorry I didn't show you before I closed it, you have a nice little button here, so no matter if you're not on level ground or not, you don't have to worry about the door swinging in on you. It'll go ahead and button up just right there. And then you do have nice little cool features here to hang up to 2 towels.
We do have a quick question.
Oh, perfect, yes.
Someone's asking if you can upgrade to the 2 lithium batteries and still retain the generator.
Okay, so the question was if you could still keep the generator, sorry, that's very squeaky. If you could still keep the generator and do the option of the 2 extra batteries. Unfortunately, from the manufacturer, you cannot. You can just go ahead and order it with 1 lithium battery and keep the generator, and then you can always do the battery later on, but it's totally up to you. Thanks for the question. All right, go ahead and close that off. But yeah, closing off the bathroom area here, we have our nice little bamboo shower rack here to keep us from slipping and falling. And then you do have a nice little shower curtain here as well to kind of keep the door from bubbling and getting wet. All right. Sweet. Now we will go ahead and move on to our Norcold fridge. We just have our power up here, so you can go ahead and turn that on and configure it to your liking. Freezer is going to be up top here. Down below, we do have some nice little drawers, endless amount of cubby space. And then directly below that, we just have our fuses and our breakers. And then again, just another little outlet here for that heater. And a few more along the way. But since we're already down below, I'm just gonna go ahead and open up this storage space that is underneath our countertop, with also our filter for that fresh water is located. 2 drawers. 2 more charging, and then we have our remotes here for our TV, which we'll get to shortly. We have our Suburban, so nice little cooktop here. Again, another way to use that propane. And then we have our sink, nice little cover here, and if you wanted to, you could use the extra side for a cutting board. And it does extend, which I love having that as well. Our kitchen window with the same type of window features here. Another cool tidbit, this has a higher R value than most windows, so that's going to keep the heat out and then also keep your heat in and vice versa. So I really like having that. It's not only tinted, but also protects you from the elements as well. And directly above here, we have our Greystone microwave. Perfect size. Not too much, not overkill, but I mean, you could do some baked potatoes, popcorn, all the necessities that you need while you're camping. And then you do have a nice little storage compartment up here again with some carpet to kind of help with that noise. All right, now we're gonna jump back over here. We do have one more storage area that I wanted to show you that's in that dining area with the adjustable shelves, which is awesome. And I just love this little cutout of a countertop, just because you can kind of go ahead and set a plant here or kind of maybe a little decoration. And then speaking of hanging things up, you have your nice little Winnebago here, which is intended to kind of be a towel rack or kind of hang something up there as well, maybe even a coat rack. This will be closing off all of our storage up here in that main area. But again, it does have the nice little carpet, and then you do have your Winnebago handy dandy notebook, I always call it, just because it will tell you everything you need to know about this coach. All right, another cool feature that a lot of people actually like, not only just because it gives you a little bit more versatility, but also a protection thing. So while you're driving down the road, if you don't feel too comfortable about having a table in front of your kiddos, you can go ahead and prop this down. Another cool feature too is you don't have to worry about only one having a 3-way seat belt. Each person will have a 3-way seat belt, and then you do have the nice little anchors down here, so it is compatible for car seats. All right, go ahead and I'm just gonna put this down to kind of give us some more room, and there we go. Perfect. All right. Right over here in this corner, we do have some more charging. So if you needed to charge electronics while you're going down the road, if you have a tablet that dies or anything, you can go ahead and plug it in here. You don't have to take their technology from them while you're on a road trip to be able to charge it up front. Up here we have some more cubbies, and in this cubby is a nice little insulation barrier. So you see these buttons, they're going to be all the way across here, and this is just something that you can go ahead, even if it's really hot, really cold, that's just going to help keep that temperature inside of the coach, and you're not going to be losing any cold air or heat from this area, because this is the only part of the coach that isn't, even though they did put extra insulation in here, this is the only part that doesn't have that honeycomb feature that I was kind of telling you. Everything else is protected besides the windows, but they have a little bit better of that R value to help with that. This is going to be the weakest part of the coach per se, so they did give you this so you can go ahead and button it up and kind of keep that closed off. You do have your nice little TV. It is an option. You don't need it. Bose, some soundbar here, and then you do have another storage compartment here with your Sony for that TV. More charging and lights. That just turns this one on and off. And then we do have a nice little, I want to call it a molly board, but a lagoon table is right here. So when you do have this chair swiveled, you get a nice little booster seat to kind of level you out, just because you can see there is a significant step down to kind of keep you nice and comfortable. So I know this table is a little smaller, but you can have 3 people eat here and then have 1 person have their own table. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to turn on the chassis really quick. All right, perfect. So everything up here, if you're familiar with Ford, super plain and simple. Just like the seats, you don't have to worry about messing with any electric seats or any electric configurations. Very minimal up here on the steering wheel, but it still has everything as far as the safety features to kind of keep your hands on the wheel at all times. You can go ahead and set everything as far as from the radio or cruise control just from right over here. And then you have your nice big touchscreen. Perfect, just go into that home screen so you can see a little glimpse of everything. You have that map right over here. You can go ahead and Bluetooth your phone, and then you have the Sirius XM settings, features, and then additional apps. But you have the heating and cooling all right here, in addition to your heating and cooling situation over here with the volumes, hazard lights. And then you have a bunch of storage on top. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that, but I love having little places to put snacks and goodies while you're on a road trip. 3 cup holders right over here, and you do have a cup holder on each side in that door. And then you do have pretty big glove box. But other than that, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for our 2026 Winnebago EKKO. Again, it's the 22A. If you guys have any questions regarding this EKKO or even the 23B, I'd love to talk to you about that. It's one of my favorite products, or any other Winnebago products. I'd be happy to help you guys out. You can reach me at the information below. Again, my name's Taylor, and have a great day.